Hi everyone, welcome to Impact Academy. I'm Yashasvi Chintada. So today let us continue with Indian economy. Okay, so last class we have seen till here. So let us continue from current account deficit. Okay, so current account deficit. The current account measures the flow of goods, services, and investments into and out of the country. So this is very important. So most questions are framed based on this type of information, like what it contains. Okay, and some small changes will be made. So the flow of goods, services, and investments into and out of the country. Okay, current account. We're talking about the current account, and it is goods, services, and also investments. So FDI and all these things also. So the country runs into a deficit if the value of goods and services of import exceeds the value of export. So in our case, most of the time the imports usually exceed the value of the export. Okay, so the current account deficit is usually negative. So among that there are different. So let us look into it. The current account includes net income, including interest and dividends and transfers like foreign aid. So foreign aid is there. So net income is there, and interest, dividends, everything is there. Nations current account maintains a record of the country's transactions with other nations. So these are the following components. One is goods, and that is services, and net earnings on overseas investments and net transfer of payments over a period of time, such as remittances. So most Indians who work in the Gulf countries or who work in the United States, they send back the remittances, right? So usually in trade of goods and services, usually India has a negative. Okay, negative, that is the imports are more than the exports. But in case of remittances, it is usually positive. Okay, that is one thing you have to keep in mind, because not many people come to India and work here and send back money, right? But Indians go abroad and work and send back money. That is more. So a country with rising CAD shows that it has become uncompetitive, and investors may not be willing to invest there. So too much of current account deficit is also not bad. In India, current account deficit could be reduced by boosting exports, okay, and curbing non-essential imports such as gold, mobiles, and electronics. So you reduce imports, okay, and increase. I mean, reduce current account can be reduced by boosting exports. So you increase exports and reduce unnecessary imports. Okay, gold, mobiles, and electronics. We have local brands also, and gold is just ornamental, right? So current account deficit is not always a problem. Pitchford thesis states that current account deficit does not matter if it is driven by the private sector. It is also known as the consenting adults view of the current account deficit. Okay, as it holds that deficits are not a problem if they result from private sector. So this is observe this way. If it is to the private sector, it is okay. But if you look at this, most of the trade of goods, services, and all these things is not completely private sector. There's a lot of state involved in that. So the formula to calculate current account deficit is, this is also important: trade gap plus net current transfers plus net income abroad. So remember this. Most of the questions will be framed with this kind of. I mean, if you have these basics very clear, you will be able to answer those questions. Okay. So and what is trade gap? Trade gap is export minus imports. So usually for India, this is negative. Okay. So trade gap plus net current transfers plus net income from abroad. So this income from abroad is usually the remittances and all. Usually that is positive. Okay. So why does current account deficit matter? It is an important signal of competitiveness and level of imports and exports. So by studying this, we can know how much competitive we are in the international business scenario. Okay. So large current account deficit usually implies some kind of disbalance between economy. That means more imports are happening and less exports are happening. Okay. So that is going to even drain our forex reserves also. Okay. So we should have a balance between imports and exports. So current account deficit is financed by attracted capital inflows, foreigners buying domestic assets, etc. This means foreigners hold a greater claim on assets and dividends. The benefit of CAD is that it allows higher levels of domestic consumption because we are buying from abroad. So if economy is running a current account deficit, it is absorbing, which is domestic consumption plus investment plus government spending, more than it is producing. Okay. This can only happen if some other economies are lending their savings to it in the form of debt or direct portfolio investment in the economy. And the economy is running down its foreign assets such as official foreign currency reserve. So basically, you have to understand that if an economy is having too much current account deficit, That means it is not producing, it is absorbing. That is one thing, and it is not a too much current account deficit is not a good thing. That shows that there is an imbalance. There is a more imports. More imports means we have to pay in dollars. So more dollars if we pay, our forex reserves will get reduced. And if our exports are not equally high, then we won't get dollars as income, right? So our forex reserves will reduce, and at international level, the investor confidence will also reduce. So what is trade deficit? As I said, it is uh, country's imports exceeds more than its exports. So exports are very less, but imports are very high, and these imports we pay with dollars, right? So our dollars are reducing. So the trade deficit in goods shows a rise of demand in the economy. Okay, it is a part of the current account deficit. So trade deficit is part of the current account deficit. We have already seen, right? So current account deficit records exports and imports in goods and services and transport payments. It represents countries' transactions with the rest of the world. That is true. And like capital account, it is a component of country's balance of payments. So balance of payments is again basically that how much you are sending out, how much you are bringing in. Okay, that is the balance of payments. So there is a deficit in current account if the value of goods and services imported exceeds the value of those exported. So all these statements can be given as individual statements in a question. So you have to try to identify all these statements. If there is a deficit in current account, okay, current account, then that what it means is that imports are more than exports, and major components are goods, services, and net earnings on overseas investments. Okay, such as interest and dividend, and net transfer of payments over a period of time, such as remittances. So net earnings on overseas investments, remittances, that is money which is coming from outside. Okay, and the goods and services, they are the major components of the current account deficit. Okay, so it is measured as a percentage of gross domestic product. The formula for calculating current account balance is we've seen multiple times, right? Trade gap, okay, imports minus exports, okay, exports minus imports. Usually in our case imports are high, so our trade gap is negative. Keep that in mind. And net current transfers and net income from abroad. Okay, so what is currency swap? A currency swap contract, also known as a cross currency swap contract, okay, is a derivative contract between two parties that involves exchange of interest payments as well as the exchange of principal amounts in certain areas that are denominated in different currencies. So, basically, say different countries are dealing with different currencies, right? India will deal with dollars. I mean, when you're dealing with USA, you deal with dollars and rupees. When you're dealing with Russia, we deal with rupees and rubles, right? So currency swap means basically you exchange between the, for example, we are buying Russian oil, okay, but we can't pay in dollars, so we can have a currency swap between rubles and rupees, something like that. Okay, all the currency swap contracts generally imply exchange of principal amount. Some swaps may require only transfer of interest, so it can be either only for the interest or the complete principal amount also. A currency swap consists of two streams of fixed or floating interest payments. So fixed means it will be fixed, floating means it keeps changing according to some base rate. Okay, if that base rate increases, the floating also increases. The transfer of interest payments occurs on predetermined dates. In addition, if the swap counterparties previously agreed to exchange principal amounts, those amounts must also be exchanged on the maturity date. Currency swaps are primarily used to hedge potential risks. So hedging is basically what you say, reducing the risk. For example, if you are investing in a kind of a business, okay, which has for example, if that business increases, say some other business goes down, or some other business increases, this goes down. So you invest part in this, part in that. So even if there is loss somewhere, you have profit somewhere else. Okay, that is one way of hedging. So investing in alternative investments to reduce the risk. Okay, so currency swaps can be used to hedge potential risks associated with fluctuations in currency exchange rates or to obtain lower interest rates on loans in foreign currency. So, for example, we can use this currency swap to reduce this currency exchange rates. For example, today dollar is 80 rupees, tomorrow it is 100 rupees, and suddenly it becomes 50 rupees. Okay, in order to reduce this shock, you can have a currency swap system. So with this currency swap, you will buy part in dollars, part in rupees, and because of that, that risk is reduced. The swaps are commonly used by the companies that operate in different countries. If a company is conducting business abroad, it would often use currency swaps to retrieve more favorable loan rates in their local currency, as opposed to borrowing money from foreign bank. Okay, so mostly companies which are conducting business in multiple countries usually use this currency swaps. Company may take a loan in the domestic currency and enter a swap contract with a foreign company to obtain a more favorable interest rate on the foreign currency that is otherwise unavailable. So when you're taking loan in a different country, for example, we go to the US and take loan. Instead of taking in dollars, what we do is we have a currency swap agreement, and using our rupees we swap it into dollars and then take loan directly. Okay, so instead of using this conversion rates and all, currency swap is also one of the important. So types of currency swap is basically fixed versus float, float versus float. Okay, and fixed versus fixed. You're not going to too much depth about it, just understand what is currency swap, that much is enough. So countervailing duty. Countervailing duty are tariffs levied on imported goods to offset subsidies made to producers of these goods in the exporting country. Okay, so for example, producers of the goods in the exporting country. Suppose India is exporting rice. Okay, so we are the exporting country, and in here farmers get a lot of subsidies, right? We have fertilizer subsidy, we have rice. I mean, what minimum support price. So a lot of the subsidies are there. So when we produce rice and export it to, suppose, say Australia, okay, so there the locals who are producing the rice, their rice will be costly, and our rice will be cheap because we have subsidies, we have a lot of support from the government. So what Australia will do is it will put a CVD. It's a extra tariff that is levied on imported goods. So if we are India exporting and Australia is the importing country, it will put a countervailing duty to offset the subsidy. Okay, we will sell it for 50 rupees, they are selling for 100 rupees. So they will put charge of a tax of 20-30 rupees, so that we will also come to 80 because of these subsidies. In our country, we have subsidies, so we are able to export at a very low price. So countervailing duty is meant to level the playing field between domestic producers and foreign producers. Okay, so Australian farmers also should be able to have a living playing field. Otherwise, their products will be too much costly because Australian government is not giving any subsidies. Uh, World Trade Organization permits the imposition of countervailing duty. Okay, and the WTO agreement on subsidies and countervailing measures addresses two main aspects. One is multilateral regulations regarding subsidies and the use of countervailing measures against injury from subsidized imports. So, by importing the subsidized rice or anything, there should not be any injury to the domestic market of the importing country. Multilateral disciplines set rules on subsidy provisions and are enforced through the WTO dispute settlement mechanism. Countervailing duties are imposed unilaterally by a member after investigating and satisfying criteria under the SCM, this Subsidies and Countervailing Measures Agreement. Okay, so first Australia will observe how India is producing, okay, what subsidies it is giving, and if it feels there is no level playing field, then it will have this tax countervailing duty. So, what is a subsidy? It's a financial contribution by the government conferring a benefit. Okay, so like fertilizer subsidy, giving free seeds, all these things, okay, they are come under subsidy. Any financial benefit given to the business people by the government. So specificity determines whether a subsidy applies to a particular enterprise or not. Subsidies are categorized as prohibited. For example, export subsidies, local content subsidies, actionable subsidy, okay, subject to challenge or counter. Fine. So some are categorized as prohibited. So, for example, if the government is giving subsidies on non-essential or luxury items, okay, then such things can be prohibited. However, transition rules provide exemptions or extended periods for developing countries and those transitioning to market economies to phase out certain subsidies. So, developing country like India, you cannot say, the World Trade Organization cannot say, okay, you stop giving subsidies. It is not possible. So, there can be some exemptions also. So countervailing measures in India. Director General of Trade Remedies (DGTR) under Ministry of Commerce and Industry is the single national authority for administrating all trade remedial measures. Okay, so Director General of Trade Remedies. So the Director General of Anti-Dumping and Allied Duties, which was founded in 1997, has been restructured as DGTR. So previously it was Anti-Dumping and Allied Duties. Now it is Director General of Trade Remedies. In 2018, it was restructured and to deal by incorporating all trade remedial functions, etc., anti-dumping duty, countervailing duty, safeguards duty, safeguard measure. It's a quasi-judicial body, so it can pass orders also that independently undertakes investigations before making. So remember, this DGTR is the latest one for this countervailing measures, any trade-related disputes. So critical minerals. The government of India has made a significant move in the mining sector by launching the first ever auction of critical minerals, offering 20 blocks for sale to private. So 20 blocks are being given to private sectors. Mineral blocks are spread across 8 states, with Tamil Nadu having the most blocks. So in minerals and etc., Tamil Nadu is having the most blocks, 7 blocks. Okay, rights for these blocks may 4 blocks option for mining licenses, etc. 16 are given for composite licenses. All this is fine. So no need to go into too much depth about this. So critical minerals are those minerals that are essential for economic development and national security. As a declaration is a dynamic process, so it keeps changing. So today you might say lithium is a critical mineral. Tomorrow you might say lithium is not a critical. So different countries have their own unique list of minerals. Okay, US has declared 50 minerals as critical, Japan has 31, UK 18 critical, EU 34, Canada. So how many? India has 30. Okay, in July 2023, India government identified 30 minerals as critical. Remember this, 30 minerals. From Mines and Minerals Act of 1957 has been amended, and Mines and Minerals Development Regulation Act of 2023, empowering the central government to auction blocks of these minerals. So how many are there? 30 minerals. This is important. So what are these 30 minerals? Antimony, beryllium, bismuth, cobalt, copper, gallium, germanium, graphite, hafnium, indium, lithium, molybdenum, niobium, nickel, PGE, phosphorus, potash, RE, rhenium, silicon is used in making chips, right? Tungsten, vanadium, okay, zirconium, selenium, cadmium, strontium, tantalum, tellurium, tin, titanium. So these are the 30 critical minerals. There is no iron, steel, and all these things. Okay, those are of course metals, not minerals exactly. So these are minerals. Okay, so just you can go through major import sources of critical minerals. Okay, lithium from Chile, Russia. Okay, India, Ireland, Belgium, etc. So all these things just go through. Where are the major sources? So silicon percentage. So silicon we are importing less than 1%. Okay, and chromium is only 2.5%, and all these other minerals we are importing 100%. Okay, graphite 60%, manganese 50. Just go through roughly the net import reliance for critical minerals of India. Okay, fine. So significance of critical minerals. Okay, they help in economic development. Okay, they can be used in green technologies, solar panels, wind turbines, and high tech industries. National security also. They are used for defense, aerospace, nuclear. Okay, space applications. All those critical minerals are used in space applications also. Environment sustainability. They're integral for transitioning toward clean energy. So we want to put more solar panels, etc. And this is important. Okay, this is a commitment of attaining 450 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030. Okay, and statements like this, there are 4 to 5 commitments, right? By 2070, we hope to become net zero, net carbon zero by 2070, and to reduce about 50% of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, and reduce 1 carbon million. What you say, all those things are there. So they are very important from S&T point of view also. So commitment is 450 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030. Fine. So credit rating agency. This is an agency that assesses the credit worthiness of the country, organization, individual or entity, and assign ratings to it. Okay. So these rating agencies are regulated by SEBI. Okay, SEBI regulations 1999 of the Securities and Exchanges Board of 1992. So SEBI Act 1992, and these regulations are used for regulating these credit rating agencies. So some of these credit rating agencies are Moody's, Standard and Poor's, Fitch, etc. So what is credit rate agency? Is basically rates. Okay, so based on the rating, you will know whether to invest or not, and all these things. Okay, it evaluates the credit risk and credit worthiness, and it gives the rates and charges a fee, debt securities, debt issuers, companies, all these things, stocks, bonds, etc. And letter and symbol based credit risk ratings. The ratings like this AA, BB, AAA, okay, A minus, B minus. So higher rating, low risk. Okay, lower rating is high risk. So government bonds and etc. They usually get higher rating because there is not much risk. And small listed small companies, okay, real estate etc. Some highly fluctuating bonds etc. They get very low rating. So these are like top ratings, okay, AAA and C minus. These are very low, okay, and this A plus, A minus, all these things. Sovereign credit rating. Sovereign credit rating is an independent assessment of the credit worthiness of a country or sovereign entity. So, by allowing external credit rating agencies to review its economy, country shows that it is willing to make financial information public to investors. So, if we are giving exposure to these international companies, that means we are confident about ourselves. We are not doing any frauds, or we are very confident about our financial position. So the factors that determine the sovereign credit rating of a country is per capita income, GDP growth, rate of inflation, external debt, economic development, and history of defaults. So such a question can be asked. So these are the things which are considered while giving the credit rating. So how much growth is there, inflation, economic development, and all these things. So if we have very good credit rating, we can get good loans from World Banks or IMF, etc. So these are some of the top credit rating agencies. Okay, CRISIL, Credit Rating Information Service of India. Okay, established 1987. All these things. Standards and Poor International is the parent company of CRISIL. This is internationally famous. Okay, Standard and Poor's. CARE, Credit Analysis and Research Limited. ICRA, Investment Information and Credit Rating Agency. Okay, so Brickwork Rating Systems, Rating India Private Limited. It is a little bit recent. SMERA, Small and Medium Enterprises Rating Agency. Okay, India Ratings and Research Private Limited. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of Fitch Group and provides accurate and timely credit opinions on the country's credit market. So, India Ratings and Research Private Limited. So, ratings are based on comprehensive evaluation of strengths and weaknesses of the company fundamentals, financials, etc., etc. Issuer pay model. Under this model, issuer, that is the company, pays the money to the credit rating agencies in order to get credit rating for the instruments issued by it. So there is a fee. Okay, we pay a certain fee, and by studying our what is the various financial statements, etc., all those things, they will give a rating. If it is good rating, we'll have a higher market share. Okay, higher share price, and the company will be able to generate a lot of loans, etc. Investor pay model. Under this model, investor is required to pay the money, not the issuer. Okay, so this basically the public will pay. Here the company will pay. Just just get a rough idea. Okay, no need to go into too much depth about it. So a regulator pay model means the regulator will pay, like RBI, RCB, etc. will pay. So just go through these advantages, disadvantages. Okay. So consumption based poverty estimates. So consumption based poverty estimates are a widely used approach to measure poverty and well-being. Okay. So method focuses on individuals or households consumption patterns as an indicator of the economic welfare. So consumption, how much rice they're eating, how much vegetables, how many dry fruits, or all these things consumption. So by analyzing the consumption patterns, policymakers and researchers can gain valuable insights into the material condition of people. So comprehensive view of people's access to goods and services. So income versus consumption. So income is the amount of money individual or household is earning, while consumption is actual spending on goods and services. So if you're earning 1 lakh but you're spending only 10,000, that shows something is not right. Okay, you're not in a very you're not spending properly. You're not buying essentials. Okay, not taking good care of your health, etc. Not getting any entertainment. So consumption provides a more accurate representation of person's well-being. Okay, for instance, a person might have a high income but choose to save significant more, resulting in a lower consumption level. So this consumption shows how much well you are. Okay. So consumption is corrected through surveys and questionnaires, various categories of expenditure, food, housing, transportation, healthcare, entertainment. Okay, just try to remember this. What are the various categories? How much you're spending on food, housing, transportation, healthcare, and entertainment. How people allocate their resources. And indirect indicators, okay, consumption-based estimate can directly indicate the level of access individuals have to essential services. Higher spending on education, healthcare, etc., can be indicative of better access to these services. Okay, so based on this consumption, we can get a lot of information, and we can define poverty lines also. So based on this consumption, how we can define the minimum level of consumption required to maintain a basic standard of living. So by establishing these lines, policymakers can identify individuals or households living below the poverty line. Consumption-based poverty measures help to focus on the actual living standards of individuals rather than just income. Okay, so consumption-based is also more important, not just income. So we have to estimate poverty based on consumption also. So CPTPP. Okay, Britain formally signed the treaty to join a major trans-Pacific trade pact, becoming the first new country to take part since its inception in 2018. So 2018, this comprehensive and progressive agreement for trans-Pacific partnership was commissioned. Okay, it was held in New Zealand, and Britain recently joined. What is this? Comprehensive and progressive trans-Pacific partnership. Okay, so what? Who are the? So Britain officially joined recently. So okay, so there is the okay. So this is the Pacific question. Okay, so this is the United States. This is Russia, and here India is here. Okay, so Ukraine is there, China is there, Japan, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, Australia is there, New Zealand, Chile, Peru. Basically, all those surrounding the Pacific region are there. India is not there. Fine, Canada is there, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Uruguay. So these are applicants only. These have just applied. Okay, China, UK, Ukraine, and already signatories are these in orange. Okay, so this is regarding the Trans-Pacific Agreement. It's in 2018 that cuts trade barriers among 11 countries: Australia, Brunei, okay, Chile, Japan, Canada, Mexico, all these things. That requires countries to eliminate or significantly reduce tariffs and make strong commitment to opening services and investment markets. So basically, if you are part of this trade, you will have to significantly reduce the tariffs. For example, you are part of this Trans-Pacific Agreement, and suppose Canada wants to export some costly wine or something. So when it comes to India, there is usually a lot of tariff, right? If it is 1,000 rupees, after coming after customs and everything, it will become 2,000 rupees. So we have to reduce those tariffs. That is the purpose of this pact. Similarly, we can also export some of our products or services. So most of the time the clash comes because we want to completely open up the service sector so that Indians can go and start doing IT jobs everywhere. Okay, but other nations they are not open to that completely. And on the other hand, they want us to open up our agricultural sector. They want to export most of their products, many milk-based products or all those things. And India is not completely ready because if cheap products, no, at a very reduced price, come into India, and if people start buying that, the local agriculture may get affected. Okay, so that is why only in these expensive malls and etc. you find a lot of these what you say this foreign origin products. Okay, you don't find that in the normal kirana shops, etc. If the price is reduced, if the tariffs are reduced, you start seeing those foreign products in the local kirana shops also. So India doesn't want to completely open up most of the time. It also has rules addressing competition, intellectual property rights, etc. So it is seen as a bulwark against China's dominance in the region. Okay, Britain will become the 12th member of the pact that cuts trade barriers. So Britain, after exiting from the European Union, now is having many joining many of these pacts. Okay, so that is about the CPTPP. comprehensive and progressive trans-Pacific agreement. Okay. So crypto asset intermediate. So cryptocurrency is also frequently in use. The Financial Stability Board report on crypto asset intermediates sought measures to enhance cross-border cooperation and information sharing among local authorities. Okay, is effectively regulate and addresses gaps in multifunction crypto asset intermediaries operating globally. So Financial Stability Board, what it is saying is the international body and monitors and makes recommendations about the global financial system. Financial Stability Board. It was established in 2009 under the aegis of G20. India is an active member of the Financial Stability Board. Okay, and it has three seats in plenary represented by Secretary of Economic Affairs, Minister of Finance, Deputy Governor of Reserve Bank of India, and Chairperson of SEBI. So all these people are there in the financial FSB. So crypto assets are digital representation of value that can transfer, store, or trade electronically. So it is digital money. This also includes non-fungible tokens. NFTs are blockchain-based tokens that each represent a unique asset like a piece of art, digital content, or media. So there is any digital art, okay? So in order, for example, if I have a very beautiful digital painting and someone takes a screenshot and shares it to someone else, okay, then the value is lost, right? So that particular digital art has a non-fungible token issued. So if you are buying the digital art, okay, so I mean normal people cannot do that. If you have too much money and don't know what to do, then you can buy these arts and etc. Right? So in that case, you want to buy a beautiful digital art, okay, digital art. Remember, not normal art. But you don't know whether you are buying a copy screenshot. It is very easy to make a screenshot, right? So, but you want to buy the original. Then a non-fungible token is issued. So based on the token, you will know that that is the original one and not some duplicate. Okay. So it's like a digital certificate. Crypto assets are a subset of digital assets that use cryptography to protect digital data and distributed technology, etc. So this blockchain is also frequently in use, frequently asked questions, right? Blockchain is a new technology where everything is in blocks. Okay, it is placed one after the other so that it cannot be changed. Okay, you cannot tamper with it so easily. Everything is placed in block after block. So in future, it might have a lot of, I mean, in banking sector, etc. It might have a lot of use. So multi-function crypto asset intermediaries. So multi-function crypto asset intermediaries is an individual firm or group of affiliated firms that offer a range of crypto-based services, products, and functions which primarily revolve around operating the trading platform. For example, Binance, Bitfinex, Coinbase, etc. Okay, so now that we have cryptocurrency is also picking up, we have cryptocurrency based several intermediaries, all these things. Okay, primary source of revenue for these platforms are transaction fees generated from trading related activities. So just like how stockbrokers, Zerodha and all, they make money. Okay, by allowing you to uh, trade on stock market. Similarly, on cryptocurrencies, they will have trading based on cryptocurrencies and they will charge money. These MCIs. They may derive revenue from operating a blockchain infrastructure for which they may collect transaction validity fees, just like Zerodha and all for stock market, etc. Okay, so let us continue the next class.